Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another live edition here on The Rock Pile. The Rock Pile tonight brings us inside Utica University Football Podcast, episode number 3. We'll be bringing on Coach Blaise Faziano here in just a moment. If you're listening on YouTube, make sure you hit subscribe, share it across all social media platforms. I was just telling Coach prior to coming on, we've had a good following over the last 2 weeks, over 4,000 views on all social media platforms, so I really appreciate the followers. I really appreciate the subscribers. Always great to talk UC football with Coach. It's fun that he's actually sneaking a little college football preview. I was looking at his picks here that I got him on. We both were 3-2 last week, so we'll get some more games this week. I think I snuck in 6 games for Coach to pick, but they're off to a great start, off to a 2-0 start. They're on the road this week, and then they'll open up Umpire 8 conference play next week. So we'll bring on Coach here without further ado. Coach, let me switch us up here. Let's see. There we go. How are you, Coach?
Excellent. Look forward to talking some football with you.
So, Coach, I'll give you the opening statement. I'll give you the floor again. A big 41-14 win over RPI last week. The Believe Bowl for you was a great night for football. Talk to us about that game.
Well, first, it was a very emotional game. We took a moment of silence for James Sallis, our player who we lost last year. And that was very important that we do that and take that opportunity. Again, at the same time, our honorary captains, Victor and Nancy from the Utica Fire Department and New York Mills, Lady Auxiliary, who are battling cancer. Our honorary captains are out there with all their families. I mean, it was really emotional to start the game. And, so I really give our guys credit, literally wiping some tears away and then going playing football. And, just a great example of, very proud of the atmosphere that we built. And the tent was rocking, Master Vito Hyundai, Frank and Colleen, the tent. I think they had 150 to 200 people in the tent. I think we had just over 2,000 people at the game. One thing that was funny that happened is Sheriff Maceo, I find out we're going to have a flyover right at the anthem. So I got everybody, the whole campus. It never comes, right? They unfortunately had to go do something because of the Mercy flight. They had to do something else. In the middle of the second quarter, the chopper buzzes the stands once, turns around, and then goes over the middle of the field, like between our lights. Brian Finn, the head official, they didn't know what to do. Everyone's looking what's going on because the second pass was really low. And they had to reset the clock. And so we had our first flyover. And I know a lot of the alumni got a kick out of that because one of the things we've joked about, having at games. But I was really proud of how our guys played, came out swinging. I have a lot of respect for RPI, a very good program. Historically, they win. Historically, they go to postseason. I was looking back at like the last times that they were held to 14 points or less was against teams like North Central, Ithaca, and Carnegie Mellon, right? That are all like
all good teams.
Mainstays in Division III football, over the years. And I think was the last time someone scored 41 on him was 2005. Alfred did. Like it's been a bit, so like, I think again, we're just working hard and things are going well and the kids are playing hard and we're gelling. So it was a great atmosphere.
Coach, your offense continues to roll. You guys jumped out to a big 28-0 halftime lead, and then you guys really never looked back. But talk to us about this offense, and you guys just came out flying on all cylinders.
There are some things that we wanted to establish as a program better from week one, right? We wanted to play better defense. We did. We wanted to have less penalties. We did. We wanted to run the ball better.
Yeah.
And we did. And those are all things in the stat line, and that helps free up the pass game. And, the pass game yards sometimes are funny because we're not calling a pass. It's an RPO, right? So you don't know, you trust in Tyler to make the right decision. He's doing a great job. And our coaches are doing a great job preparing our guys. That doesn't matter what we saw on film. It's like we're preparing to go against 3 high safeties, max coverage, since we just threw for over 500 yards, even though we haven't seen it on film from RPI. And don't they come out and do that? And we're ready for it, right? And the confidence the kids have just in the game prep, the Coach Klaus, Coach Anilovic, Coach McClendon are putting our guys in is tremendous.
Yeah, and coach, we'll talk about Tyler again here. I mean, another huge game for him, 27 to 29 for 385, 6 touchdown passes, tied the single game record. He's just off to a fantastic start these first two
Yes.
games. But what I was impressed with, coach, is both your opening 2 games, his completion percentage. I mean, he's completing balls. He's accurate.
Sorry. I think it's like 79% or
Yeah.
that's crazy. Credit to our receivers, making good decisions with the football. He's mad he was only 10 of 11 on third down because he could have been 11 of 11. That's how he is. Excuse me, I'm going to have cough for a minute.
And coach, I know
I love it.
we've talked a lot about Tyler the first 2 games, and rightfully so, the numbers we put up. But you're talking about the receiving core too. You got a DBS grad that's put up some good numbers too. Good player, and Tayshawn's played well too for you the first 2 games.
He did. Bryce Palmer, Antonio Cianfrani, Tyshawn Taylor, those guys are playing great. And then, it was really nice to see some guys in the game step in, like, Lorenzo Velez and Gabe Zawala came in and made some plays. And, we're pretty deep at receiver, and so, the way those guys are running, we're going to have to be, because they're going to get gassed. We have some confidence in them, and our O-line's doing a great job protecting Tyler, in giving us opportunities to run the football. I think the big thing for Tyler, he's just got, I was talking in my office today, just a good story. Like it's been such a long time since he's had fun playing football. He has to almost go back to Aquinas, and so unfortunately for him, he didn't have a good experience at Albany Robert Morris, which is then ultimately fortunate for us, right? And all good things come in time and happen for a reason. And, he's really gelled well with our guys. He's a Utica guy all the way. The quarterback room is a strong room. Those guys are tight and push for each other. And, we're firing on all cylinders. The guys are, confidence is high, and we know we got a big challenge coming this week.
And coach, I know before the season started, I think the Empire 8 said you guys had one of the best skilled groups in the conference coming back this year in your skilled groups, obviously led by Tyler, and you got a great receiving core. But I want to just talk about the defense, because your defense has been really good the last 2 weeks as well. And you got a senior defensive back, and Eli Douglas was all over the field. I think he had a forced fumble. I think he had an interception for you. He was all over the place from the backfield.
Coach McClendon's doing a good job of moving him around within the defense, and you're not sure where he's going to be or what zone he's going to be. And sometimes he's back deep in the third or half, and other times he's underneath coverage, and allows Eli to have fun and kind of do both. And has been a really strong leader back there, and he's just come a long way, from being a freshman. That his claim to fame was the blocked punt against Susquehanna in the playoffs, and just contributed a bit. And all the guys that kind of were leaders for him and helped him through the process. And now he's giving back to our younger guys and is really a strong leader as a captain and in the secondary back there. So he's playing at a high level. I think, right down the middle, Eli Douglas, Isaiah Thomas, and Jordan Davis, those three. And, all the old coaches I've been around. I know I'm all of a sudden now I'm the old coach, but you got to be strong down the middle of your defense.
Right.
I think those guys are all playing at a high level for us.
Coach, another young guy that played some minutes for you was freshman Austin DeGroat from Oneida. And I remember last year I was helping Jake coach the All-Star game, and I saw that kid running around. I said, man, that kid's going to be a stud. He got in, played some good time for you guys.
Yeah, it's funny. Like he worked hard in the summer, put some weight on, and came back a little even bigger than we thought he was going to be. Right? Because is he going to be a linebacker, a D end? Is he going to be a hybrid guy? And I don't forget I think it was 250, 260. Come rolling into camp like, no, big guy. We're going to get your hand on the ground, and you're going to be a D lineman for us. So each week he's played more and more, and we like to rotate our defensive line. He's got a great motor, runs to the ball, and he's playing some special teams in there as well. And just a really coachable guy, and we're glad to have him, as a local guy, and keep him here in town for sure.
So, Coach, before we get into Hobart, what are a couple things from this past week's game that you look to improve on heading into week 3 here?
It's hard, but I told the guys, you got to really put the score aside and say, okay, what were our mistakes, right? Because as the games get bigger and closer and tighter, those mistakes can come back and get us, Like the one I didn't like is we give up. Their 2 scores are off turnovers, right? So now our defense answered the call on 2 of the 4, right? One huge play was Nick DeForest, right? Holland Patton blocks the field goal, right? But they give a big, big kick return, and then we have a penalty out of bounds. We give them the ball at great field position, they score, right? And then we have a fumble and they score, right? And like we can't. I'm sorry, actually, they scored after the blocked punt when they blocked. So we punt one time and we give up a blocked punt. Well, now everyone's going to come after our punts now, right? And so those are some things that we really just we got to get these things fixed. The guys are bought in. I think our special teams are still young and have to continue to improve. That's an area I spend a lot of time with. But I think one of the big things too is just every week's different, every opponent's different, and then they're starting to get into a routine. Our coaches are getting into a routine. We have a lot of new young coaches. Many of our guys who played first last year, or it's their first year coaching, and they're enthusiastic, energetic, and working their butts off. They're getting in a routine, as well as our players now as they get into the thick of the semester. So then balance in academics and athletics is key. And our mentoring program we do, our Utica Advantage is. If you came in the office, maybe people would think we'd be in there watching film, and you're going to see 4 young coaches having one-on-ones with our players. We have this orange book. It's called the Utica Advantage. We've done it since I've been hired and when I first got hired, and it's great for our players. It's time management. It's there's a mentor program with it, and a lot of questions about their goals in their lives and goal setting, and so that's really in full force right now as well. So.
Now, Coach, is there any different preparation for you guys between prepping for a home game? I know the Believe Bowl is a big event for you guys, but now you go back on the road. Is preparation different when you're going on the road?
It is. It's easier. It's easier. But we had a lot going on, and I remember when Coach McClendon first got hired 4 years ago, he's like, Coach, is every home game got to be like the Super Bowl? You know what I mean? Like color guards and people singing the anthem and the tents packed. And I said, yeah, that's how it's gonna be. That's how it's gonna roll, And I think we talked a lot about how the distractions are always different.
Yep.
Right. So the week one was not reading all the press about how good W&J was, and it's crazy right now. It's the second conference champ we're playing, right? Yeah. And if you ask the kids that in the first 3 teams we've played, that they've only had one win, which would be RPI against WPI, you're like, no way. Like these are good football teams. Like Alfred. It's a good football team. We were playing later on in life. Mentioned them. RPI, is going to have a winning season, right? W&J is going to have a winning season, right? Yep. Hobart is going to have a winning season. These are really good teams. Like Hobart, they're 0-2. Come on, like turn the ball over, or they beat Alfred. Battled with Brockport, right? A lot of respect there. That was a battle, right? And Brockport's a good physical football team out of our conference. So, I know they're reeling. They play very well at home. I mean, I don't know what it's some crazy number. Like they don't lose at home. One of their few losses was a couple years ago in the bowl game to us. Yep. And how did they respond? Deep in the NCAA playoffs and took Susquehanna, to the wire. So, a lot of credit for Coach DeWall as we're getting into Hobart here. Yep. and their football team here. It's a huge game for all different reasons. And I kind of like our guys like it. It's a mindset. Hey, let's take our show on the road. Hop on the bus, lock in. It's nice. It's not that far a trip. I like being able to just go down the thruway and play a great opponent. And one thing that's true, and I've said this, and like in the committee I was on, as many times I can say, as Division III, New York football, Division III football, some of the best in the country. Period. Always has been, always will be. So, it'll be a war on Saturday. They're a very good team.
And Coach, you know them well. You mentioned the ECA, the Clayton Chapman Bowl. You guys played them a few years ago, and I think you guys had a late drive, a 7-play drive, late in the fourth quarter to score the go-ahead touchdown. It was a low-scoring game. It was like 10-6 that you guys won. I think that year you guys finished 9-2, which was a great year for you guys. So you know them well a little bit, right?
We do, and then they're a little different. We'll see what happens on Saturday, but they're a little different. We'll see. We're certainly prepared for all of it, right? You got to prepare for the man blitzing and the pressure. You got to prepare for the max coverage. They're a little more zone pressure this year. Very good defense. Certainly, as a coach on the defense side of Bob, been focused on some of their offensive players. A running back is very good. EJ Taylor, he's a big dude. Got to tackle him. I'm sorry, I've been coughing today, everyone.
Yeah, I mean,
some coaches watching this going, give Coach a water.
You mentioned their first 2 games. I mean, they were in a good one with Alfred. That's really good. I know we'll talk about them later in the season. And then, Brockport, I think, scored late against them to beat them 14-10. So that was back and forth. So they've started off like yourself, 2 really tough games right out of the gate.
Yeah, right out. Yeah, there's no easy games out the gate. Their one receiver, number 3, is really good. Johnny Harding, he plays lacrosse, right? He's D1 lacrosse player out of Rochester. Their one wideout, number 5, Marcus Peterson's a really good player. So they got some good football players, and they're really well coached. Coach Seth Williams was on my staff at Utica, was part of the tree. Coach Jake Williams was part of the Utica tree. So those guys know us pretty well, and I'm sure I know they've had this game marked after that tough loss at their place in the bowl game. So um, our guys are excited, like they want to challenge. Very well, maybe regardless of record, the best football team we've played to date is what we've been telling our guys, and we know that they're gonna swing back. You know what I mean? I think our guys came out fast and furious these first 2 games and maybe surprised the team, and we kind of got after them. And then our guys know Hobart, like they're not going to go away. Like they're going to keep battling. They're a tough football team, and they've shown that in their first 2 weeks. So again, is it a big game because it's the next game? Our guys are really bought into that, and because they've learned, they've seen it. They've seen it over the years. Our veterans, you can build some games up too much. You can play down to your opponent at times, and I think truly these guys love playing football together. Very close group. And one thing I said to them this week is, every team we play is going to have good players, but the best team is going to win. And DeForest sent out an old Bo Schemblecker video of the team. And it was a great timing because he had sent the video out before I even talked about that. So we're on the same page, and looking forward to another week.
And Coach, how much does the non-conference schedule help you guys heading into the Empire 8 play next week? I know you don't like to look ahead like every coach doesn't, but how much does this non-conference schedule really prepare you guys for conference play?
I mean, it's huge. I mean, we had Andrew Banquet at practice today, a Hall of Fame quarterback for us, and he was in town, and he's like, Coach, he's like, things are a little different. Like, what do you mean? He's like, well, we're not opening up, and I won't say the schools, but X school, maybe say from New England. Yep. You're opening up with RPI and WJ and Hobart. You know what I mean? So, and you're having success because things are a little different. And I think certainly that's going to help prepare us, more so for conference play. It's kind of funny how it goes in waves. There was a really good stretch where, we were playing Union, we were playing RPI. Those are games I want to play, and then for that, reasons we won't talk about on the show, the games don't happen. But now it's kind of locked in nice with the Empire 8 Liberty League, where there's a contract, right, for 2 non-league games. That's how it should be. And so for us, I was joking around with people, oh, we must be getting better because our draw was Hobart RPI. So like, all right, thanks for the compliment. We're getting better. So we have those teams for 2 years. And then I think after that, it goes Ithaca, St. Lawrence, which is great. Again, New York, Central New York. We haven't played Ithaca since 18. St. Lawrence was, again, another really good game. We play at night with them. I got a good relationship with Coach Puck and Coach Turp at Ithaca. So this is really good for New York football, where Empire 8 versus Liberty League. I think people get amped up for that.
Coach, I feel like after that first win for you guys, and I think we were talking, 2 weeks ago when we started this show, I said, like, all these shows had you guys, like, kind of picked towards the middle of the pack. And they definitely didn't pick you to win the first game. And I feel like you're similar to a lot of coaches. Like, you know what, we'll play anybody anywhere. We're going to go compete no matter who we play. But I feel like that game was a big statement for you guys, because now all these different shows I follow, they're all talking about UC, saying, watch out for these guys come Empire 8 play.
The guys talked about it. It's like, hey, we're starting to get recognition, and that's nice, and that's good for our program, our university. We talk about it all the time that we want to put a team on the field that our university, our alumni, and community are proud of. But they love playing together. They just want to go win a football game, and they know that we have to handle success. We talk about we have to handle success because it's going to come, right? And so important. And we had a great week of practice, and the young guys are really starting to learn. The scout teams are getting better the last 2 weeks, right? And they're excited as well. And with what's going on, they've played 2 really tough openers to Erie Community College and Cortland, both like 1-score type games. They had opportunities to win. They're looking for their first JV win this Sunday. They're home against Alfred at 1. So I know they're pretty amped up for that as our young guys and young coaches get geared up. And we're certainly been watching those films to see, okay, who's going to get the call. Every year there's someone who gets a call. Last year was like, Mason Payton, who's now starting at strike, and Isaiah Thomas, who's starting linebacker. got the call for special teams midseason, and we're playing in the Fisher game in packages. So we're watching those tapes and watching our guys develop.
Coach, how would you say this team so far through the first couple of weeks of the season is different? I know every year every team's different, and some teams get you're ahead on offense or you're ahead a little bit on defense heading into conference play. But how is this team different through the first few weeks than last year's?
Well, yeah, I mean, every team has a 1 year life expectancy, and every team has just a different chemistry, and you have different leaders, and I try to develop them best I can on my end, and our coaches do a great job of that, and um, it's just a unique group. I think it's a unique group right now. They've learned. It's nice when you have seniors that have been around. They've been there for 10-2 and 9-2, and they were there for 5-5, and they did not like 5-5 last year, right? And worked really hard to get back and have that success. And at the end of the day, they love playing football, and everyone's only guaranteed 10, and they don't want to turn their equipment in after 10. That's our goal every year, whatever that looks like, right? We're going to do everything in our power to play as many football games as we can, and that's been the mindset that's set by the players. Like, I mean, they go in the weight room and it's like a whole different deal, right? And we're going to get some calls for playing the music too loud in the neighborhood, I'm sure, but the music's blaring. The energy in the weight room is excellent. And I just give credit to our leadership council and our captains for leading this football team, because it can't just come from me. It can't just come from the coaches.
Coach, you mentioned a couple of the players for Hobart. I want to just talk a little bit about, you mentioned their junior running back, E.J. Taylor, who last year was at 1,100-yard back, and he's off to a good start. They feed him a lot. 35 carries week one, 21 carries, 21 carries against Alfred. He had 14 carries against Brockport. So it looks like he's the workhorse for them. Good back, big back, quick back. What do you know about him?
He's tough to tackle. We've been tackling stations all week, and a huge offensive line. And so they do a nice job in their run game, and so we're just, all right, what might we see different? They've played two quarterbacks at times. We recruited Aiden Conrad. He's a really good quarterback, talented young man, great family. But they've also played True Styles, and he seems to run the ball a little more. One of their touchdowns in the Alfred game, he's in and is a quarterback and more of a running type quarterback. They're a good football team. On defense, Alex Smith, man, he's all over the place, number one, and he's on special teams. They have probably the best special teams we've played so far. Their kicker, their punter, their kickoff guy, very good special teams, right? Their field goal guy, he can make it from long ways. So we definitely have a challenge there. So our guys know, like, they have an empathy, like, all right, put yourself in Hobart's shoes. They're coming swinging, right? 0-2. They know they're better than that. They want to get a non-conference win before they get into Liberty League play, right? Because at the end of the day, it's about, number one, in Division III football, winning your conference, right? You win your conference, you get the AQ, right? And then next is doing everything in your power to make sure you're 9-1. Because if you're 9-1, you have a really, really good chance of. I think all the 9-1 teams got in last year with the new expanded bracket. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know that Liberty League that they're in, they're picked to actually finish first in that league, and then Ithaca's right behind them, another strong conference. And like you said, you mentioned Coach DeWall, he's been there over 15 years. I think he was an assistant there for a long time before being named the head coach, I think, in 18. But they've done nothing but post back-to-back, 5 straight postseason bids. They won the Liberty last year, picked again. Good conference.
I mean, Hobart athletics are big, right? Their hockey program, right, battling them in the national championship. Their lacrosse program being Division I. The William Smith, their female space, really, really good, student athletes there at Hobart, very well respected in all their sports. So, and Coach DeWall played for Coach Craig, who built Hobart. Back in the early 90s, they weren't quite there yet. And Coach Craig built that place along with my good friend Chris Phelps, and DeWall played for those guys, and they've got a lot of strong tradition of winning at Hobart for sure.
So, Coach, what are a couple keys, whether it's offense, defense, couple keys to this week of going up there and coming out with a win?
Well, I always say the same thing, but it's about turnovers and possessions, right? Like, Hobart beats Alfred if they don't turn the ball over, in my opinion, right? They gave Alfred some great field position on a couple of turnovers. One was a pick six, and one was a fumble down in their end zone or red zone area. I think that's a really big thing. We've turned the ball over a couple times. It hasn't been the game, but our guys know, hey, we got to protect the football, right? We don't want to make the other team earn it. Let's make them earn it. Let's make them go, 80 yards, 70 yards, and not give them the ball on the 40+ yard line, right? Because the chance of any football team, like these guys are going to throw it up and they're going to make a play, So, make them earn, earn their points. I always say the same things. It's special teams. The guys, it's huge. It's all about the field position in the game. I think that's key. Their punt team's got all these crazy formations that gives us, their spread formations in their punt team, right? It's like they're trying, doing our best to work on that. And number one's the guy in motion, so they can free him up to go make the tackle, right? So, so that's been a challenge. So they're a well-coached team. I know these guys really well, and again, we're looking forward to taking the show on the road for sure.
Coach, I feel like every week when we talk about all these other coaches, and there's so many great coaches across the country in Division III, and especially here in New York State. And every week it's just a tough matchup, no matter who you play, and it's a lot of great coaching all over the place.
There really is. There's some great programs in New York State and in the Northeast for sure. Pennsylvania too has a great history of Division III football. Obviously, Ohio. Right, and the Mount Unions and the Heidelbergs and Ohio Northerns and all those guys and the John Carrolls, the Baldwin Wallaces. I mean, it's just really good, and then it's really picking up. You know what I mean?
Yep.
All of a sudden, when Texas figured out, hey, we're going to switch from NAIA Division III, right? Boom, they're right away like doing great things. It's just great football out there. The Mary Hardin Baylor and Mary Hardin Simmons, those are just some tremendous programs, and their schools have put a lot of investment in those programs. So
I feel like it's getting bigger and bigger every year.
Well, in Division III, it's funny. Division I, there's at least some rules where it's relatively equal, right? The scholarships are the same.
Yep.
Right. You got to have certain size stadiums. Like there's all these. Where Division III is like all over the place. It's all over the place. You got massive stadiums. You got tiny stadiums. You got guys who are trying to make sure they can class schedules, not like at the Division I level.
Yep.
You have guys that are running down from labs to practice, from PT lab and everything. And, again, Division III guy, right? Played Division III, loved Division III. Always wanted to coach Division III. Didn't always necessarily think about being a head coach. It just kind of happened, when the time was right. And I just, at that time, we were in Rochester, and I'm just putting all my time and effort into Fisher, and like Coach Vosberg's texting me, after the Washington J win, and like that's what's great about the game of football, right? Is the people you meet and the guys you compete against.
All about relationships.
Yeah, that's what makes it special. So, yeah, looking forward to seeing Coach Lees and Coach Williams and Coach DeWall and their staff, and I'm sure it's going to be it's certainly one you don't want to miss. This one, I think it's going to be a good football game.
Well, Coach, one of my favorite parts of the week here is at the bottom of the hour we get into our picks. So I added a couple extra ones, and we're both tied here. We went 3-2 last week. All right, so I snuck in. I think I got 6 games this week, but the first one we're going to go is Texas Tech, that's 3-0, at Utah, that's 3-0. Utah's -3.5, but we're not counting spreads, but I got to put them up there. This one's at Utah. Who you like?
I mean, when it's that close like that, I'm going to go with the home team. I'm going to go with Utah.
All right, you're going to roll with Utah? Okay. I like Utah this year.
This is your favorite part. This is like
I love it, man.
I'm terrible at this.
You're going to laugh
who know
at this.
Me are like, don't listen to Coach Fagiano about.
I've had some guys. You're gonna laugh at this, but I've had some guys say, Coach Faz's picks aren't too bad. Like there's people that pay attention to the picks.
All right, we'll keep down. We'll keep it.
All right, so you're gonna go. I'm gonna roll with Utah too. I do like them at home this year. I love their coach. I think Windingham's a great coach. This is another one. I'm big on Venables. Auburn 3-0 at Oklahoma. Oklahoma's -6.5. John Mateer, the quarterback for Oklahoma right now, is playing as good as anybody in the country. But this is a big game for both teams in Oklahoma and Norman. You think Auburn's got a shot?
I think they do. I think it looks like it'll probably be a 1-score game, but I'm going to go with Oklahoma. They're playing great right now.
Yeah, I'm a Michigan guy. It's hard for me to go against Venables. He'll beat Michigan, and defensively, I think this is the best team he's had since he's taken over there for Stoop. So I like him. Good coach. I hope they have a good season. All right, Bryce Underwood was good last week against Central Michigan. They used him running the ball. They did a little bit of both. I feel like with Sharon Moore out, they kind of opened up the offense a little bit. I love Biff Poggi, the interim head coach there, filling in line guy. Could they go in Nebraska and beat Matt Rule? Rule hasn't had a lot of success against Michigan here the last 3 years. This might be the better
Yeah.
team he's had. Do you think
I
that
got to go.
Nebraska gets him?
I know a lot of guys that have coached with Coach Rule, and a lot of respect for him and his ups and downs, in the profession from the NFL and back in college, kind of like Coach Shiano at Rutgers. This one I'm going to go. I'm going to go Hart and go Nebraska.
All right. Well, I'm a Michigan guy, so
Michigan has enough. I don't know if Michigan will have enough offense. We'll see.
I worry about Michigan's offensive line, but I love their running game with Jackson Hayes, the transfer from Alabama. If they keep the training wheels, I don't know if you I know you don't watch a lot of college football with you guys in the season, Coach, but I don't know if you've seen this Underwood kid. He is a beast. He's a big kid. Freak athlete.
Can't say I have. I know Nebraska is going to be rocking, and I know this is a huge game for Coach Rule. So
Lincoln's going to be huge. All right, here's another one. I love Billy Napier. I feel like every week if he loses, they want to fire him. He's on the hot list right now to be fired, and they're already saying John Gruden's going to come in and take over the Florida Gators.
Leave him alone.
Let him. Did you see their schedule though? Like every week they're playing. I think their next 6-7 games are all against ranked teams. So I don't know.
Here's my thing on firing coaches. I'll give you this, right? Here's my thing on firing coaches, right? The Browns and the Bills had more head coach changeover. It was like some crazy number, right? And then you looked at the Steelers and you look at the Patriots, right? That's what you just have to learn from that right there. Is like give the coach a chance. And now the Bills have settled in, right? And I really like the Browns head coach. They got to figure some other things out. But you got to give these guys a chance.
Yeah.
He's a good coach. It's going to happen. It's about your program. I'm sure he's working at it. So I'm not a big mid-season get rid of coach. It's crazy.
Well, you know what it is, Coach. The rule is if they fire a coach in season, these kids can go right into the transfer portal as soon as possible. So you could lose half your team.
Oh God!
But this
is
a big
whole
one.
Other show, whole other conversation. That nonsense.
In-state game, Miami's looked really good through the first 3 weeks, and Carson Beck's looked really good. The transfer from Georgia, they're at home -7.5. Any chance Florida gets them?
No. I actually watched Carson play a little bit. It seems like he's fit in really well there, kind of like a fresh start. And I'm going with the U.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think there's a chance. Even though I love Billy Napier, I just don't see it happening. Another big game in the Big Ten. I'm a Big Ten homer. Indiana at home. They haven't played anybody yet, but man, he's changed the culture there at Indiana. From a basketball school, now it's a football school. They were in the playoff last year. But Brett Bielema and fighting Illini, he's brought that old school, run the football, play really good defense. Who you like in that one? That's at Indiana.
I mean, I'm going with the local Uticans. We're going for Brett Bielema. A lot of local guys know Coach Bielema. One of his director of football operations is a local Utica guy. And he's I've met him a couple times. He's a great human being. I'm going Illinois on this one.
I'm with you on that one. I think it's the perfect fit for him. When he got this job, I thought it was the perfect fit when he got hired there. I didn't think it was the right fit for him when he was at Arkansas in the SEC. He's a Big Ten guy to me, and it's good to see him back in the Big Ten.
You always wonder when those guys make those decisions. You know what I mean? And I know it's a lot of money. There's a lot of money, but they're in a good place. And you got things rolling. It's kind of like when Rodriguez left West Virginia. Right now he's back. Right.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And
but she had a big win last week, the backyard brawl. They beat Pitt.
He did.
Great win for West
I was a big
Virginia.
fan when they were rolling at West Virginia. I liked what they were doing back then.
All right, Coach, I got one last bonus pick. I'm going to be at the game. Coach Fitz opens up Patriot League play at home against my Fordham Rams that have struggled. Colgate's moved the ball. I mean, his offense has been putting up some points. They're at home this week against Fordham. You going with one of your former coaches?
So here I do have to give you a little background. So it's wild in these games. So Colgate a couple weeks ago was playing Villanova.
Yep.
Right. Well, the D-line coach of Villanova is Nick Woodman, right? Utica Proctor grad.
That's right.
He's full time there. Coach Ferranti hired him. So now, right, Colgate, right, is playing Fordham and James Lenahan, right? Yep. Another Utica alum.
Yes, sir.
War number 24, like Eli Douglas.
Great player
safety for us. But I tell you what, I got to go with the Red Raiders at home and go against their alma mater, coach. I think the Colgate's going to get it done. And it's going to be a little different now that they get in conference play. I know they're really well coached. They've played some really good football teams. They move the ball against Syracuse.
They have. They have. He's gonna get it going. I know we talked about it last week.
The big question is what are you going to do? That's the big question. Everyone's
I really want to pick Colgate to beat him, but I got to go with my alma mater. I want to see Joe Conlon. I mean, he's had a couple of years at Fordham, and there's all these rumors that he's on the hot seat. He's been really good to me over the years, so I'm gonna hope Fordham comes here with a win. I'll be on the sidelines. I'll be on the sidelines for the game Saturday. Bring my son's gonna.
It's gonna be packed. I gotta imagine it's gonna be packed. I know Coach Fitz has got that university fired up, and
Coach, the weather has been fantastic so far. Knock on wood through the first few weeks of the season. What great fall weather!
It's been great. You're right. Knock on wood keeps it going because we've had some crazy ones, but. Looking forward for those guys to get their first win. They're doing some really good things there. Coach Fitz, Coach Rubino, Coach Rodsford, Coach Boys, crazy. So they're doing some good things.
Well, Coach, listen, bring home a W. I look forward to talking to you next week as we get an Empire 8 play next week. And fear the Moose as always, and go get them this week.
Thank you. If you didn't know, everyone, September 27th is homecoming. Come on back to homecoming. Pioneers versus Pioneers as we take on Alfred State. But thanks for listening. Fear the Moose.
Sounds good, Coach. Good luck. So that was Coach Faziano. Let me just sneak my thing off here. I appreciate him coming on here. I love talking to him. I love talking football with him weekly. It's a great half hour, one of my favorite half hours of the week. He's got things going. They're off to a fantastic start. Another big game this week. 3 tough games right out of the gate for him before they head into Empire 8 play next week, which we'll get into then. So make sure to follow me on all social media platforms. I'll get this playback up there. I'll share it again tonight. I'll get some clips of Coach from tonight's show, as always. Next week, I think what I'll try to do, if anybody's got any questions for Coach, I'll try to take him before so I can ask him. Maybe we'll add a couple segments as we go throughout the season. So I want to make sure that I thank Coach for that, and best of luck to them this week as they take on Hobart. So without further ado, thanks to Coach. Thanks for tuning in tonight to hear on The Rock Pile. The Rock Pile is where dreams